Hey there, it is Care Monique, and I want to welcome you to my channel. If you are new here, my channel focuses on helping those who are aspiring designers in the footwear and handbag industry or fashion industry in general create their brands and their lines without going to formal school. Please remember to like my channel, to subscribe to my channel, and if you really love this video, leave me a comment and share it with a friend. In today's video, we are going to actually talk about 8 things that I believe will really help you with your brand identity. And brand identity is super important. It is not something you should skip over. It is the very thing that people realize and recognize when it comes to you as a line or you as a brand. So let's jump right into this video. Branding can be really vague, and sometimes it can be challenging when you first start. It is one of the most important parts of your brand being recognizable to people and for it to be clear who it is that you are and what it is that you stand for. So we're going to just chat a little bit really quickly about the 8 elements that I recommend that you really consider when building your brand out. The first element is going to be your brand story. And there are 2 components to that. There are going to be real stories and personas. You want to create a narrative around real people that are relevant to your brand, that are relatable to your brand, people that would actually shop with you. And then you also want to create an element of your story around the real story behind how the brand started, who the brand is, why this brand exists. Those 2 components are really going to help with folks who are trying to figure out who you are when they first are introduced to you and really understand kind of the story and mission behind the brand. So that is the first element or first kind of step that I recommend that you really navigate or look into. And I will throw an example of a brand persona right here. And then I'll also throw an example of kind of a brand story right here. The next one is going to be, what does your brand value? Your literal brand values. You want to tell people exactly what it is that you value because your customers are probably going to value some of those same things or at least appreciate that you value those things. That is how you build likability and loyalty, which are very important when building a brand. So here's an example of the values for one of my businesses that people can readily see, they're able to read, and what we live out every day in our branding. And then the other thing is you want to make sure that you're doing a constant review of your values. Are your values still relevant, not only to the times that you're living in, but are they relevant to what you actually are producing and what you are putting out as a brand? You don't want to say that you are a planet-friendly, animal-loving brand and all of your products are made of real leather, because real leather comes from animals. So you recognize how that might not go over well, or you're producing out of some type of toxic meal. This happens. I'm not saying that that's something that people do on purpose, but this actually happens. People are manufacturing or creating things, or their items are ending up as toxic waste once they're done. You really need to know what it is that you value and know the production process and the ways in which your company is impacting whatever those values are you say that you're putting out there. So the next one is going to be your visual identity. And oftentimes people think of visual identity as just their logo or just their social media. But your visual identity is really, you want to make a bold statement, crisp, clean, understandable, but bold, to really set you apart in the industry. So that's going to be your entire branding kit, the entire visual of your brand. That's going to include your logo. That's going to include your typography and the type of aesthetic that you use as far as fonts and colors. It's going to be the shapes, the patterns, the textures that you use, how you present yourself, even how your models look when it comes to your brand. You want to have a specific type of a look for your visual identity, and I'm actually going to do a video shortly about how to create a visual identity around your brand and naming it, like whether you want to be a historic style, whether you want to be classic, whether you want to be modern, whatever that looks like. But visually you should look consistent across the board for your brand. The next one is going to be your unique selling point, or what we call a USP. Your unique selling point is what's going to set you apart from your market. So for me, for example, in Faye Nicole, which is my shoe brand, my unique selling point is larger sizes, so very niche market, of selling larger sizes, and I'm really in the heel space. A lot of people assume women with large feet don't want to wear heels. They're tall. They don't care for them. This is not true. There are some women who don't care for them, but that is not necessarily the norm. That is not the standard. So my unique selling point is I am a place for women with large feet to buy attractive and affordable heels. Even though I'm in the semi-luxury space, I'm not $400 or $500 a pair. My shoes are way, way cheaper than that, and I want to stick to that market and to that model. And that also separates me from a lot of my competition, because my other competitors, they are in a very high, they're much higher price point. They're using real leathers. I am in the vegan leather and vegan and foam material arena as well, which not only keeps my costs low, but it goes to a point of some of our core values of trying not to impact animals in a specific type of way for the usage of clothing and materials for wearing. So that is one of the things. So that's going to be super, super important for you, your unique selling point. It also is going to help clarify what it is that you should be creating and how you should be creating it. When you start to create new products, you always want that unique selling point to be a part of that new collection. It's going to keep you on track. So a clear point of view. We are living in a time where brands have to, in some ways I would say, be political. You have to speak out about the times that we're in. You cannot just sell. You have to relate to your customers, because customers are on the internet. They're seeing everything. Knowledge, access, so many things are at our fingertips, literally. But what you want to do is whatever you stand for, whatever point of view you have on issues that are out within the community or out within the world or the nation, you want to make sure that you are very clear on what they are, because you don't want to confuse your consumer or your customer, but you also want to relate to them in a very specific way that makes them continue to want to support you. The next one is going to be brand positioning. And one of the important things about brand positioning is you get to see where your brand stands amongst other brands. And a good way to do this is by creating a perceptual map. And I'll throw one right here. And this just shows where your brand lies amongst competitors. It impacts your price point. It impacts the types of materials you use. It impacts how your customers see you. It's important for you to know how your customers see you, because if they see you as an affordable or a cheap fast fashion brand, but you're selling your products over $100, your customers are not going to shop with you. They're not going to be customers, really. Potential customers are going to look at you like, what is this? What is happening? This is like, your price point doesn't match what you're putting out. So you definitely don't want to skip out on really looking at where you land in the market, because it's going to help you with so many things that are out-facing to your customer. The next one for your brand is target customers. Now, of course, you can have all these types of people that could buy from you, all of these types of people who could fit into your fashion brand, all these types of people who can love what you offer, but you should still have a target customer. These are the folks that you are building your brand for, building your brand around. These are the folks that you are solving an issue for. Your target customer are the people that you study. They're the people that you talk to. These are the folks that you are constantly in communication with about your brand. And when I say in communication, it doesn't mean you're always emailing them or sending them out a memo or trying to call a meeting or a focus group every week. I mean, in everything you do for your branding, you're speaking directly to them. When they open up their phone and they're on Instagram and they see your brand, they're like, oh my goodness, these shoes are for me. Oh, I love it. This sweater, oh, this whole collection is my kind of style. Someone that does this really, really well, that knows their target customer, is actually one of my friends, the Kyra Danae collection. So Kyra, she has a very clear brand for who she's marketing to. She wants classic style. She merges classic style with modern feel. Women who are working but also have a social life, the clothes can transform from work to play. Often they have this very clean and sleek style, and she has narrowed it. She's nailed it when it comes to her target customer. She's a really good young brand that I say is a really good example of walking what they talk and also being clear about who their target customer is. And the last one that I want to mention is going to be your tone of voice. Now, I know you aren't necessarily always speaking to your audience with your physical voice, but your brand should have a tone of voice. And this is super important, because what Maya Angelou said it best, people might forget what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. That is the same thing with your brand. People might not always remember your advertising or always remember your marketing plan, but they're going to remember how it made you feel. There are commercials that you remember because they made you feel a certain way. They brought up a certain emotion, or they touched a certain point that you were in life. You want to have a tone of voice and a consistent tone of voice. One of my brands, I use the term sis all the time because my brand is, which is the Crew Cosmetics. We're sisterhood. That is what it is. It's a brand around creating relationships for women. So I use the term sis because sis puts us in a relational state very often. All of our messaging, all of our branding really talks to folks like we girls, like we have been knowing each other forever. And then I have other brands that are very crisp, very clean, very straight to the point. Because I have some brands that are relevant to women that don't play. I'm about my business. I don't have a lot of questions. How much does it cost? And when do I get it? Kind of thing. So just making sure that your tone of voice matches the feelings that you want your customer to feel. So I want you to pull all of those things together. Maybe even get you a notebook or a worksheet and start to write those things out. Everything that I talked about in this video, because that is going to bring so much clarity to your brand. I hope this video was helpful. Please feel free to look at so many of my other videos. I'm in a series right now where we're talking about branding overall. So check the channel out every single week for a new video. Please remember to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, to leave me some comments. Always love responding to you all's comments. And I will see you all in the next video.